The English Revolution. It began when tensions exploded between King Charles I and Parliament. Charles believed in the divine right of kings, that his power came from God. Parliament disagreed, demanding a voice for the people. The result was civil war. After years of brutal fighting, King Charles I was executed, and England briefly became a republic under Oliver Cromwell. Although the monarchy was later restored, this revolution planted the first seeds of constitutional government, a model that inspired democracies to come. The American Revolution. The American colonies rebelled against the British Empire, rejecting taxes and laws imposed without representation. It wasn't just about independence, it was about principle. When the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, it declared that all men are created equal. The United States became the first modern democracy born from revolution, proving that people could overthrow an empire and build a nation based on freedom and rights. The French Revolution. The French people lived in extreme poverty, while the monarchy and nobility lived in luxury. In 1789, starving citizens stormed the Bastille, symbolizing the fall of royal tyranny. The revolution abolished monarchy, executed King Louis XVI, and introduced radical ideas: liberty, equality, fraternity. But chaos followed: mass executions, wars, and eventually Napoleon's rise to power. Still, the revolution changed the course of history, spreading democratic ideals across Europe. The Haitian Revolution. The world's only successful slave revolution. Enslaved Africans in the French colony of Saint-Domingue, led by Toussaint Louverture, fought against French, Spanish, and British forces and won. Haiti became the first black republic and the second independent nation in the Americas. It proved that even the most oppressed people could fight for liberty, challenging slavery and colonialism worldwide. The Latin American Revolutions. Inspired by the American and French revolutions, colonies across Latin America rose against Spain and Portugal. Leaders like Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín led independence movements from Mexico to Argentina. Though many new nations struggled politically, these revolutions marked the end of centuries of European rule in the Americas. The 1848 revolutions in Europe. Known as the Springtime of Nations, 1848 saw dozens of uprisings across Europe, in France, Italy, Germany, and Austria. Workers and liberals demanded democracy, workers' rights, and an end to monarchies. Most of these revolts were crushed, but the ideas they spread, national unity and civil rights, shaped modern Europe in the decades ahead. The Russian Revolution. Russia under Tsar Nicholas II was collapsing. War, famine, and inequality had reached their peak. In February 1917, the Tsar was forced to abdicate. By October, Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks seized power, promising peace, land, and bread. The revolution created the Soviet Union, the world's first communist state, ending centuries of monarchy and changing global politics for the rest of the century. The Chinese Revolution. Led by Mao Zedong, the Chinese Communist Party overthrew Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist government after decades of civil war. On October 1, 1949, Mao declared the founding of the People's Republic of China. This revolution not only ended Imperial China but also transformed 1/5 of the world's population into a socialist state, a transformation still shaping global politics today. The Cuban Revolution. In the 1950s, Cuba was ruled by dictator Fulgencio Batista, whose regime was backed by the United States. A small band of revolutionaries, led by Fidel Castro and Che Guevara, launched a guerrilla war from the mountains. By 1959, they took Havana, and Batista fled the country. Cuba became a communist nation, aligning with the Soviet Union and defying U.S. influence in the Western Hemisphere. The Iranian Revolution. Iran's revolution was unlike any before, a blend of religion and politics. For decades, the Shah of Iran ruled with Western backing, suppressing dissent. In 1979, millions protested his regime. He fled, and Ayatollah Khomeini established an Islamic republic, replacing monarchy with theocracy. It reshaped Middle Eastern politics and challenged Western dominance in the region. The People Power Revolution. After 20 years under dictator Ferdinand Marcos, the Philippines erupted in peaceful protests. Millions gathered at Manila's EDSA Avenue, unarmed, facing tanks and soldiers. In just 4 days, Marcos fled the country, and democracy was restored under Corazon Aquino. It became one of the most powerful examples of non-violent revolution in modern history. The Fall of Communism. The late 1980s saw revolutions across Eastern Europe, in Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, and beyond. Peaceful protests and political pressure ended decades of Soviet control. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, symbolizing the collapse of communism in Europe. By 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, ending the Cold War and reshaping the global order. The Arab Spring. It started in Tunisia when a street vendor named Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire in protest against government corruption. His act sparked a wave of uprisings across the Arab world, from Egypt to Libya and Syria. While some nations saw brief reforms, others descended into chaos and civil war. The Arab Spring proved that even in the 21st century, the power of protest can still shake entire regimes. The Ukrainian Revolution. Known as the Euromaidan Revolution, it began when Ukraine's president refused to sign a deal with the European Union. Massive protests filled Kyiv streets, calling for democracy and independence from Russian influence. After months of clashes, the government collapsed, and the revolution shifted Ukraine's future, a struggle that continues today. The ongoing digital revolutions. Today, revolutions don't just happen on battlefields, they happen online. Social media and digital activism have given ordinary citizens the power to organize, expose corruption, and demand change faster than ever before. From Hong Kong's protests to global movements for climate action, the next revolution may not need weapons, only information and connection.